Hi everyone, welcome back to another video, and this will be part one of a little series where I will be going over the differences between a conventional golf swing versus a stack and tilt golf swing. Now in this video in particular, I'll be talking about the differences in fundamentals and setup position, and in part two I'll be comparing the differences of both swing styles. And if you enjoyed this video, please leave a like, and if you are new to the channel, please subscribe to see more golf related content. So to start, I want to go over how each method defines their fundamentals. Now with the conventional swing, the fundamentals are more about how to address the ball. So things like the grip, the alignment, posture, and stance. So the only thing to keep in mind with these fundamentals is that there have been a lot of successful players who have done all of these things very differently. So some players like to play with a very strong grip or a very weak grip. Some players like to align their bodies very open or even close to the target to play a fade or a draw, and many people have varying postures depending on their height and body. So even though these things are considered fundamentals, they can be considered variables in the golf swing as well. Now with stack and tilt, the fundamentals are more dynamic and can be demonstrated by all of the best players in the world. So the first fundamental with stack and tilt is ball contact. Now to be a functional player, you have to have the ability to make solid contact the majority of the time, otherwise it will be a very frustrating sport. So the best players in the world tend to have the most control of where they bottom out in the swing, meaning they can hit the same spot on the ground the majority of the time. Now the worst players will have the least amount of control, to where they will hit the ground first a lot, or they will miss the ground completely and top the ball. If you can produce a swing that will allow you to control over your low point and get you to hit the same spot on the ground the majority of the time, you'll be able to play golf relatively well. The second fundamental with stack and tilt is distance. So you want to be able to produce a swing that gives you enough distance to be able to play the course. And lastly, the final fundamental with stack and tilt is to be able to control the shape and direction of your shot. So in summary, the fundamentals that were listed with the conventional swing are just more things on how to set up to the golf ball, whereas with the stack and tilt system, the fundamentals just go over the keys of what the swing needs to produce in order to play good golf. So now that you know what the fundamentals are for each method, let's take a look at the differences in setup position from the front and side views. Okay, so starting with the front view first, if we were to talk about the setup position with the conventional swing, typically the weighting in the feet would be distributed fairly evenly, if not a little bit more so kind of on the trail side. Okay? Now, when the weight is distributed evenly or slightly more on the trail side, if you were to reference the center of your shoulder and the center of your hip, they would be both positioned more so behind the golf ball. Okay? Secondly, the right shoulder or the trail shoulder would typically be lower, much lower in relation to the lead shoulder. Okay? And this is all to encourage or give the player more of a head start on their shift off of the golf ball in the backswing. However, when a player is shifting off of the ball in the backswing, what they have to do is they have to get back into position in order for them to bottom out correctly. Now with stack and tilt, the weighting in the feet is distributed more so on the lead side, about 55% versus 45%. Okay? Also, the feet are taught to be a bit flared out. Okay? And this the idea is that it takes off pressure on the joints and gives more mobility to the player on the way back and on the way through. Okay? Now with the weighting a bit more so on the lead side, 55%, the idea is that you want to get the center of your shoulders and the center of your hip kind of on top of each other and also directly above or on top of the golf ball. Okay? So unlike the conventional method with the weight kind of evenly distributed, weight more so on the right side and the center of the shoulders and hips more so behind the ball. Now you're getting the feet more flared, weight is more so a little bit more on the left side, where everything is kind of stacked on top of each other and on top of the ball. Okay? Now also with your weight a little bit more on your lead side and the shoulder and hips kind of stacked on top of each other and positioned over top of the ball, the shoulders will be or will appear a bit more level, but the trail shoulder will still be slightly lower in relation to the lead shoulder, just because the right hand is gripped lower than the left hand when you're holding the handle. Now, this will allow the player to be able to turn without having to move their body off of the golf ball to the right, into their trail side. Now, if they're able to turn without moving off of the ball, it will make it easier for them to return the golf ball and bottom out in the same spot. So from the side view now, if we look at the conventional setup, what you're often told is to have a very straight back. Okay, so you'll have a slight arch in the lower back. Your shoulders are told to be pushed back or pinched together, and then you're also told to have your chin pretty high like this. Okay. Now in this position, with your chin high like this, you're actually looking at the ball through the bottom of your eyes. Okay. Also, with your back so straight and your shoulders more so in a rigid position, it actually limits your range of motion or mobility in the backswing. Okay. Now with stack and tilt, they allow you to have more of a rounded back. Okay, just getting you more so in a natural position, and they want the shoulders not so much back like this or pinched together, but they allow the shoulders to kind of roll a little more inwards like this, just so that you're in a relaxed position like this. Okay. Now they also don't encourage you to raise your chin, just so that your eyes are looking more directly at the golf ball instead of through the bottom of your eyes like this. Okay. So those are basically the only differences between the conventional setup position and the stack and tilt setup position. Thank you so much for watching. So I hope this video gave you some insight as to what the fundamentals are for both methods, as well as the differences in the setup position and what they promote in your swing. If you have any questions, please leave a comment down below. Be sure to check in next week for part 2, where I'm just going to be going over the differences in the actual swing of both methods. Be sure to follow me on my Instagram at Jonathan K. Moss. But other than that, I will see you guys on the next video.